My name is Brett McDowell. I'm the Executive Director of the Liberty Alliance Project. I'm one of several representatives of industry organizations. Our partner, most notably the Information Card Foundation, who's helped organize this event today. And with that, we're going to get started. We made a promise, and we advertised this session, that 2009 was the year that identity in the cloud is really creating intersection between enterprise identity management practices and consumer identity in a way that we haven't seen before. And that today we're bringing the stakeholders and the leaders in the identity management industry and across all the open source communities and open specification communities to tell you what's going on and how things are coming together so you can harness the power of digital identity this year and into the future. So with authentication, authorization, and identity services being forced to interoperate in the cloud, we have some questions that we're going to answer with you today. What is the state of security in identity management, enterprise and in the wild? What is the state of privacy? And where is privacy regulation and privacy practices going? Are we ready for prime time deployment? What are the issues that are keeping major deployments on ice? And how are we addressing that? You're going to hear a lot of discussion about that today, and you're going to see some answers. And how do the various pieces fit together? Seems like everyone has an answer for what the solution should be. But in any serious scaled deployment, especially one that crosses enterprise use cases and consumer use cases, how are we going to piece the different solutions together? Because not one technology solves all of our use cases. And that, if there is any theme of today, that is our theme. Federation, web services, information cards. How do they come together to solve our problems? So this is the famous, now made famous, Venn of Identity, published in the IEEE Security Journal, co-authored by Eve Mailer of Sun Microsystems and Drummond Reed, and you'll be hearing from Drummond later today. This shows that we have overlap in the technology families between SAML, OpenID, and information cards. There are things that those technologies try to do in common, and there are things they do uniquely to address their different use cases and trust models. And so how are we going to make something work across all these solutions? How are we going to put them together to make them work to support your use cases or your clients' use cases? We are going to hear from the best of the best today. We have, again, the large communities coming together, information cards, Liberty Alliance, OAuth community, OpenID, all represented in discussions today. We have some of the major solution providers, CA, Oracle, PingID, RSA, and NTT, Concordia, OSIS. We're going to see large deployers in the back of the room. I encourage you to speak to the representatives from the US government and what they're trying to do with citizen identity. They've got an interesting demo back there. So you are going to hear from the best of the best try to answer these questions. Now let's take a moment and see what are you going to find out from the solution providers. Today we're going to hear, I'm going to also try to highlight, I'm sure all of you have a little yellow agenda. I encourage you to keep that. This is going to be a rapid-paced day. We've got a lot of information to cover, and you're going to want to follow along and make sure you know where you're at. So I'm going to highlight some things as we go through. The very next presentation today is going to be from CA. CA is going to give us a history lesson on federation and how we can apply that history to innovation in the future of identity. It's going to be a great foundation for us for the rest of this conversation. You know, they've been deploying federation for their 14,000 employees, and they think that they've got some specific lessons that we need to apply to this other stuff we're talking about today. We're going to hear from Oracle. That's going to be at 10:40 on multi-community identity federation. Oracle's presentation is going to emphasize that this is not just a game of putting protocols together and making protocols work, that the real architecture design needs to come from putting the different trust models together. That various communities have different trust needs, and that drives the architecture, and then you build your solution with the protocols that you have. So it's sort of a twist on the Venn of identity. We're going to hear from Ping ID. They're going to be telling us what they're doing, especially enabling web services in the cloud. RSA security, they're going to be talking to us this morning before lunch, and they're going to be emphasizing that just because many use cases really want one identity that can be reused for lots of applications. Just because you have one identity doesn't mean you have one-stop shopping for identity fraudsters. So they're talking about how to secure that one identity. They're talking about how, as we come together in federation, we need to work together across all the participants in the federation to avoid identity fraud, and some of the things that they're doing to help enable that. And NTT, in the back of the room, there's an NTT, NRI, Oracle demonstration of 2 use cases that cross OpenID and SAML. And they're going to be presenting on the different mapping requirements that those use cases highlight, that you have to know how the different protocols identify and convey authentication level, and that's going to be key to what they talk about today. So that's what we're going to hear from the solution providers. We're going to hear a lot from the communities today, these aggregation points of problem solving and common use cases. In the Liberty Alliance presentation later this morning, we're going to be talking about what Liberty Alliance has been doing recently in enabling federation technology, and we're also going to make an announcement of a new collaboration, how we're going to broaden the collaboration to better fulfill this promise of the power of identity if we can get it working end-to-end across a continuum. The Information Card Foundation, they're going to be announcing a new website which features 7 new information card projects, and they'll be doing a mini demo of 3 of those just launching today. They're also going to be talking about a new white paper coming out of one of their members, Craig Burton, I'm sure many of you are familiar with. We're going to hear from OpenID, Data Portability Project, and the OAuth community, along with the others on a panel. Please don't miss that panel. That's going to be a key to our day, and it's going to start on time at 1:10, right after lunch. So please get back here at 1:10 and don't miss that panel. You really have the leaders of all the major identity management communities talking about what they're doing and how they're going to work together. And we're going to hear about OSIS. Yesterday was the culmination of several weeks of online interoperability testing, and they're going to be proud to announce their results. They're going to be up here in a group talking about OpenID interoperability they've achieved, information card interoperability they've achieved, and sort of new ground that they've broken in the end-to-end interoperability across the Venn of identity. I want to emphasize the exhibitors that we have in the back of the room. If you haven't seen the demos yet this morning, you're going to have 2 more opportunities to do so. You're going to be able to spend time with the demonstrations over lunch, and you're going to have time at the end of the day. We are going to break on time at 4:30. That's going to be right after a short wrap-up session, and that'll be your last chance. You'll have about 45 minutes to spend time with the demos if you don't have a chance to do it over lunch. And these are the folks that you're going to see back there highlighting their stuff. After today, your heads might be spinning about all the information that we're throwing at you and all of the significant historic milestones that we're announcing, one session after another, quick 20-minute bursts. And so it's going to be a lot to take in, and we recommend that you stay in touch and follow along. We're going to make all the presentations available online. They're also all on the USB sticks that you'll get. If you don't already have one, I think you'll be getting those later as you exit. Just make sure you don't leave this conference without picking up one of these cute little USB sticks. They're going to have your presentations, and they're going to have links to where you need to go online to get more information. Project Concordia has been a key enabler for this cross-protocol conversation. That's where we've been collaborating on the agenda for today, and that's where we're going to be uploading the materials. And I'm going to make a few other announcements throughout the day about where you can sign up for mailing lists and stay involved in the conversation. No doubt you'll have questions, and we really encourage you to ask those questions and throw out challenges, because today is going to be a lot of information. It's not going to be a lot of question and answer time. We're going to have some of that on the panels. So I think to really get your question answered at the level you're going to want you on those mailing lists and participating in this community effort going forward.